Let's check out the NFC North standings. The Bears lose a heartbreaker in Miami yesterday while the Vikings take care of the Cards. Bears lead the division at 3-2 while the Vikes are behind them 3-2-1, followed by the Packers, who play obviously tonight and on ESPN, and the Lions. Victor Cruz back with us. Good to have you. Stephen A., who should be the favorite right now in the NFC North?
In the NFC North?
Yes.
Wow. Believe it or not, I'm going to go with Chicago, despite what I saw yesterday. I don't like the fact that the defense looked so questionable yesterday against Miami, particularly with Brock Osweiler being the quarterback as opposed to Ryan Tannehill. I certainly didn't like the fact that Miami was able to win the game despite Kenyon Drake having his behind saved because he fumbled at the goal line. You just can't do that. And to his credit, he knew it. He felt absolutely awful. He buried his head in the towel even after they won. He was so ashamed of making that kind of error. But here's what I like about Chicago. I think Khalil Mack gets hurt early. Their defense is compromised to some degree. They give up a couple of good plays, big plays. We know that. But the offense with Mitchell Trubisky and Jordan Howard and those boys showed up. And I didn't expect that. We've been looking at Chicago, and we've been all about their defense with their 3-1 start prior to yesterday. What we didn't talk about enough was the fact that we're watching Mitchell Trubisky grow and get better. And what I'm watching, Max and Vic, is that he's turning around. He's not just looking in one direction and throwing passes. I'm watching him look off safeties. I'm watching him look off opposing defenders and going in the opposite direction and flinging that football. Jordan Howard's no joke either. This brother can play. And so when I look at it from that perspective, and I look at a guy like Taylor Gabriel on their squad as well, I'm seeing, that's right, him as well, I'm seeing playmakers. And it comes down to Trubisky, and I'm watching Trubisky grow before our very eyes, with Aaron Rodgers clearly being hobbled, along with his bevy receivers all being injured, and Minnesota's defense being so up and down, even though Kirk Cousins has played better, and you pointed that out last week, Max. And I don't believe in Detroit, not yet. I'm just of the mindset that Chicago is the team to look at in the NFC North right now.
I think it's the Vikings, and I think that people had it right before the season started, and then you always get it thrown a curveball in the NFL. It's such a small sample size. You're trying to extrapolate from these little pieces of evidence, like these grand ideas about everything. Look at the Vikings before the season. A lot of people like them to win the Super Bowl because they may, top to bottom, be the best team, offense and defense. 2 years ago, their offensive line stunk. Last year, it was good. This year, it stunk early, and it's rounding into form, which is why a team like the Bills waxed them. And then 1 week later, they came back and lost to the Rams, still undefeated, by the way, by 1 score. And by the way, yesterday, no Dalvin Cook. And Latavius Murray is good, but Dalvin Cook is better, you would think. So you look at what Kirk Cousins has, receivers all over the field, a real good run game, even when the number one guy is there, their RB2 get 155 all-purpose yards, right? A real good defense, actually, at least on paper, though it didn't start the season that way. Kirk Cousins, 7th best QBR the last several weeks, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, something like that. It was 12-3. Sorry, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions the last couple of weeks. Kirk Cousins is giving you a premium over Case Keenum. And most importantly, I don't believe in Mitch Trubisky. I don't think he's too inaccurate down the field. I don't believe in the Lions yet. I'm with you, Stephen A. I got to see more from them. I don't think we're going to see the real Aaron Rodgers this year, period.
Now, I spent some time in Chicago. I was there throughout Mitchell Trubisky's rookie year, and I remember a play during practice where Mitchell Trubisky threaded the needle. I'm talking about like through a linebacker and a safety around the second tier of the field on an in route, and he threaded the needle, and it was against a scout team. He was performing with, not going up against. He was with the scout team going up against the first and second team defense. And in that moment, I knew, I was like, okay, this kid's got some talent. He can throw the football well, and he can do some things to play some good football for this team. And as I watched him grow, not just during my time there, but as a player, as he's getting a start now, I'm watching him mature, and I'm watching him not just make plays, but command that offense and command those receivers, those running backs. He's commanding that team in a way that I didn't think would happen in the first couple years of his career. I thought it'd take more time for that. So with that being said, I believe in the Chicago Bears. I think that they should be at the top of this division, and it's rightfully so, mainly because of Mitchell Trubisky's play and how he's taken this team. to the next level from a quarterback standpoint and getting the football out to his receivers and all the weapons that he's got going on. And that defense doesn't even need to be spoken about.
Do you think he, although not so good this last week, do you think that he is consistently accurate enough? Because I agree, he, like a lot of guys, can thread the needle at times, and he's a big, strong guy. The main thing I've seen from Mitchell Trubisky early on is he can outrun linebackers. Look at that. He's fast. He's athletic. He's big. He's strong. But I don't see him – I see him not consistently accurate enough down the field.
Fair enough, but I will tell you this. Last year, he's got like 12 – he's had like 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. This year already in the first 5 games, in the 12 games he played last year, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. This year in just 5 games, he's got 11 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. He was completing, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but take that game out.
He was completing 59% of his passes last year. He's at 70 now. All I'm saying is I'm watching him.
There's a maturation.
He's improving.
Absolutely.
For sure. I want to look at the Steelers now quickly, guys. We don't have a ton of time, but obviously Le'Veon Bell expected to be back. They're on the bye this week for Week 8. If they get Le'Veon back, Max, does that make the Steelers the favorite in the AFC North?
No, because I believe in the Ravens. I think that Flacco's been playing better this year. They lit a fire under him. I mean, even self-starters and everything, you draft a QB, the old guy gets a fire lit under him. He's looked better than he has in years, and that goes back to the preseason. He looked sensational in preseason. He's looked good this year. He has receivers all over the field now. He has 3 guys he can rely on, at receiver. And most importantly is the Ravens have the defense this year. That's the defense you're not trying to see. So I like the Ravens since the preseason. I still like them. Le'Veon Bell obviously improves a Pittsburgh offense that has shown that they will be in it this year, but I think the Ravens are the class of the division.
My answer to the question would be it depends on which Le'Veon Bell shows up. If the Le'Veon Bell shows up to play, then I'm going to say the Steelers would be my favorite in the AFC North. If Le'Veon Bell shows up to survive, so he remains healthy, entering free agency for 2019, he's not interested in a heavy workload. He's not interested in a bunch of carries. It wasn't just sitting out the first 7 or 8 games. He wants to make sure that his work is monitored to the point where he isn't raked through the coals. If that Le'Veon Bell shows up, then I'm not going to sit up there and give that edge to the Steelers.
I think if Le'Veon Bell comes back, and obviously he picked a good week against the Cleveland Browns, and I think we're going to see a good Le'Veon Bell. He's going to propel this team to the next level, I feel like. Obviously, they've done some good things with James Conner. He's been playing out of his mind, but with Le'Veon Bell in the game, he can take this team to the next level, and they'll be my favorite if he comes back ready to ball.
I don't think he's going to come back to this team, guys. I felt since the preseason they're going to deal him. And I think at a certain point, the price that the market is willing to pay matches what the Steelers are willing to take. Because I do agree with Stephen A. There will be – I don't know if the locker room likes him right now.
What's the market for Le'Veon Bell? What do you think he should be paid? What is the market for Le'Veon Bell that the Steelers think that he shouldn't be paid?
No, I don't mean in terms of treasure. I mean in terms of prospects that they would – or players that stuff they get back. I think
they deal
halfway through the season where he's going into a walk year and the team who he's traded to may not even sign him, I think if you swapped a second for a third and threw in something like that might get it done, and you like Connor, he's been doing well, and if the locker room and Le'Veon have a problem, why have the problem? I just have had a feeling since preseason he's going to play for someone else.
We'll see.
That's up to the Steelers, not him.
Bengals and Ravens both 4-2 tied for first in the division. Victor, good to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Todd Gurley and Zeke Elliott both put up monster games on Sunday, but you're about to find out why neither is the best back in football. Don't go anywhere. We have a huge week coming for you on First Takes. Stephen A's list is back with his top 5 NFL teams, and Ryan Clark will tell him what he got wrong. Also, the NBA is back. Don't miss who Max and Stephen A think has the best chance to end the Warriors' reign. Plus, we're in Los Angeles for LeBron's Laker debut. What big names will stop by the LA studios? Don't miss it. All that and more all week here on First Take.
Insurance that won't replace the full value of your